Tell me a bit about yourself. So what's your name, where you're from, and your occupation?
Okay, my name is Gege Uboma. I'm from London, but originally from Nigeria, and I'm a hairdresser, hairstylist, and an Afro curly hair expert. Yes.
So what inspired you to take up this occupation?
First, it started with myself. I had issues getting hairstylists to do my hair. When I first moved over here from Nigeria, that was about 20 years ago or more. I'm not that old though, but well. So when I came, I didn't have a lot of money, and I liked doing my hair. I used to do my hair at home, maybe possibly every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. Came here, and first of all, it was quite expensive, but now expense was one thing. The second thing now was somebody to actually do it properly. I wasn't pleased with what I was seeing, so I decided to continue doing my hair myself. I learned how to do hair just out of curiosity, or it was something I really loved growing up. But then from there, it just went on to one thing to the other and to this. So when people started seeing me, maybe my hair being done and it looked a certain way, they'd ask me who did my hair. And when I told them it was myself, they'd ask me to do their hair, and that is how it really started.
That's brilliant. So what do you think makes Afro hair different from other hair types?
One of the most significant differences is that no two Afro hair are the same. As much as there's a thing about hair typing, which is good because it gives people an idea of, a guide to Afro hair. But the most significant thing is that there's no two people's hair that I've touched or worked with, no matter how alike they look or even feel, they could behave totally differently. So I think that's one of the main differences, but it's also the main beauty of it as well.
So do you think then the curl patterns, for example, like 3B or 4C, they don't define the person's hair? Like it's just kind of a vague idea of what their hair potentially could be like?
Exactly, that's exactly how I feel. Sometimes I feel that the people are placing too much significance on this hair type rather than looking at other things that are important. You have things like porosity, you have things like, do you have split ends? You understand? What products are you putting on your hair? What's your regimen? Sleep patterns, lifestyle, all this come into what affect the hair, not just the curl pattern.
Alright, so talk to me a bit about your training courses. So would you be able to give me sort of like a brief overview of the courses and what they consist of, and why do you think they're beneficial for people?
I've been working on these courses for over 2 years now because there wasn't anything to be like a real guideline, so I've had to sort of structure everything and try and learn what people want to learn. So at the moment I've sort of divided into 3 different places. So you have for individuals, so like parents or people that just want to learn about Afro, Afro and curly hair, and then because you don't want to give them too much information or overload them with information. Then you have for people that want to go into hair as a profession, so like beginners who want to be hairstylists or hairstylists already but don't understand or know about Afro curly hair, and then there will be one for when you want to actually be a professional in this. So that's how I've divided them. So we have a fundamental, which is for professionals. It's for everybody really, it just depends on how deep you want to go, but this covers like what everybody would need to know to actually move on to working with Afro hair. So once you do that, you're like, okay, I know this, I can deal with it. If somebody walks in with this hair type, I understand it. And this covers how to deal with the people as well, because when you do the hair, you're not just dealing with the hair on their head, you're dealing with their personality, you're dealing with their culture, you're dealing with their story. So it's very important to also put that into consideration.
Perfect. So I noticed you mentioned like parent courses. What was the intention for this course? Do you feel it was kind of parents were being given misleading information, or was it like not enough information?
The reason for this course, I think it comes from all different places, because having been doing this for over 13 years now, I have noticed such sort of patterns with parents with children and with people that are adults already but had possibly issues pertaining to hair care growing up. So I've seen people that, they have phobias about their hair, it just comes out in different ways. I can't really explain just now, like it's a whole another story. But what started this off was when I saw how hair affected these individuals, how it affected the children, and how it affected the parents as well. I felt it was very important to do a parents course, because that way the parents can inform the children, and the children can grow up more confident, you understand, and it would sort of reduce this trauma that I continually see in grown-ups. So I think it goes all around. It helps to help the parents, to help the children, and even to help the hairstylists, because if somebody comes and they understand their hair a bit better, you know, it's easier for everybody.
You seem to specialise in like a wide range of areas of like Afro hair and, you know, different hair types. So is there a particular style of Afro hair care or like treatment that you think is your favourite to do, and why?
Oh, this is the hard one now. Let me see.
I'm sure there's quite a lot.
There's a lot, like, and that was a choice that I had to make, because a lot of people specialize, and it's beautiful to specialize, but at the same time, because anybody could walk in with Afro hair with anything, so I wanted to be able to handle it, like not say, okay, I only do with maybe coily hair, or I only work with coily hair, or only do braids, or only do weaves. I'm so curious about it. Like my assistant was asking me just now, why don't I do makeup? But because there's already so much to do with hair, there's really no space for any other beauty treatment. Going to my favorite treatment now, like I love all of them, to be honest. Like once I start, it's like the end product is the most beautiful thing. When you finish at the end and the person's like, wow, I love my hair, or you see that smile. But if I was to choose, I like the defining curly hair, because each hair, when you treat, because once we do the curl definition, I'd like to do a treatment and then possibly a trim and then maybe a cut. There's something I do which is like a double Afro curly cut, which is I go in and do a trim just to make sure I get all those ends, and then after I'll do a dry cut to give it the shape. So I think that's my favorite, to be honest, just because everybody's curly hair just gives a different result.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure the transformation is always amazing to see at the end as well.
Yes, yes.
So with over 14 years of professional experience in Afro hair, what do you feel was the most challenging part in your career, and how did you overcome that?
The most challenging part was the beginning, learning. And that is why I'm here trying to teach other people, because it was so limited. I went to Newham College to do some courses, Newvic, and this was I think 2007, 2008, and they had an Afro course, like it was a braiding course, and I went in there and she did a good job, but it just seemed like already what I knew just from practicing and everything from home, and you know, being passed down culturally from aunties and cousins, it seemed like I knew a lot more than I saw there. So that was an issue, finding somebody to actually do, you know, teach me. That was the main thing. So I had to overcome it by trial and error, by reading a lot, what I could find on YouTube. There are a lot of people from America. There was this lady, Makweda Brycelyn, or I think that's her name, and she had braiding courses then, and I bought her CDs. You know, things like that. But it was a case of people coming, talking people through, finding out what they did, you know, and now just, you know, piecing it together step by step. So over time, when you do something repeatedly and repeatedly, you now find out what works. And so it's just a combination of everything. So that's how I overcame it.
My next question would be, what challenges did your business face during the pandemic? Because obviously during that time it was very difficult, you know, for businesses to kind of function with, obviously with all like the distancing measures and all that was like in place. So, you know, how did your business overcome these problems that you faced in the pandemic, and what were they?
The main problem was obviously not being able to see anybody. So immediately that meant that cash was really low and how to survive. I think the government was giving a bit of support, but because my business had not been in business for a long time, I wasn't able to get that support. But what that did though for me was, one, it gave me the time to look into the courses. So it was compulsory time also. I now started looking into courses and teaching and how to reach people. You know, obviously it's a pandemic, so reaching people remotely. So I think the courses were really born from that time. Then the second thing I did was, prior to that, the year before, I did a natural hair care formulating course. So I started making my hair care formulas at that time. So I started selling it to to my customers. So those are the ways I managed to get through the pandemic, you understand? Yeah.
That's brilliant. So tell me a bit about your work with the Royal Exchange Theatre in Manchester, because I saw you did a bit of that sounded really interesting. So what was your favourite productions to work on? What did you get to do?
I think that was 2017, 2018. There was a massive cast, Americans, Europeans, and what we were doing then was there were women, there were men. I think I was working with mainly the men on a daily basis, and then they would call me to do, you know, dreadlocks or a braid or cornrows or treatment in between. It was so beautiful. It lasted over 3 months. And with them, I've had a relationship with them where the first thing I did with them was Dollhouse, I think in 2010, 2011 or so, or 2012. And that was Kush Jumbo. She's now a bit, you know, so big, but she was so lovely to me. She was the one that invited me over because there was nobody in the theatre that actually, at that time, understood enough about working with their hair. The Royal Exchange Theatre are so open to education about this, and it has led to us. I've gone there and done some training with them, and we've also combined together to do hair courses to help people, theatres, hairdressers, just to understand a bit more about Afro hair, which we're waiting to come out. But that has been my journey with them, so they've been really supportive, and we've done a lot of beautiful stuff. But that particular show was awesome. It was beautiful.
Well, did you get to go and watch it as well?
Yeah, of course I
that's
did.
brilliant.
And I met so many beautiful actors. But I know Akko Mitchell, I just noticed he was in what's this thing called? Doctor Strange, and I was like, you know, that kind of thing. So I see them pop up every now and then, but they were lovely, lovely people. And you know, I think one thing about the community is some people from the community sometimes are scared to go to places like that. So I want to tell you that there's space for you. You understand? If there's an inquiry, there are placements, there are training opportunities. So yeah, I think people should just take the leap and go in there. It was really lovely.
Sounds absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing to have that opportunity as well. Yeah.
See, it's beautiful. It's so nice. Like when I go sometimes, working one with different people, and two, just the whole background, seeing how it happened, I'm just like, oh my god, look at this. And then there's the wigs, there's all different beautiful things, and you know, and the people at the theatre are so lovely. So seriously, I miss it, you know, because we're not there as much as we used to since after lockdown. But yeah, beautiful experience, love it.
Like Gigi back in the theatre, guys. So my next question is, if you were to recommend one Afro hair product, what would it be?
If I would recommend something, I wouldn't call it a product, I would recommend water.
Hydration is key.
Hydration, yeah, like let's not, a lot of people are do this, buy that, this, and the main thing is water. Yeah, there are other products that would help, but water is key. If you're having issues with your hair, and most of the time it just means most likely it's thirsty, and then the main thing now is to find a way to keep that moisture in. So I would say water is your most important ingredient for Afro hair.
I remember last year, I think it was, you did an interview with the BBC, and you said you kind of felt that there was a lack of understanding about Afro hair. So do you think there's been more understanding now, or are we still kind of at the same point?
I don't think we're at the same point. I think there's been a lot of progress within the last, I believe, 3 years, and it's just growing every day, because I think there's more information out there. I think the government has also said that hairdressers have to know about this thing, and there are people like the founder of World Afro Day, you know, people like that, and a lot of you know, the Halo code has been introduced. So there's a lot of things going on, and there's a lot of awareness growing, and with people like me, other educators, you know, I believe a lot of people, like other coaches, are coming up in the UK, even America. So I think there's a lot more information now. The only problem now, sometimes there could still be this information overload. One thing is that different coaches, different people with their different experiences. So one person might feel this might not be working for them, another person might feel the other way is working for them. And then sometimes this is not represented 100% in social media or how things are, you know. So I think it has changed a lot, but people still need to be very aware of where they're getting their information, not allowing people to overwhelm them or sort of bully them into, you know, doing things that everybody is doing, or feeling that their hair is not doing as it should because somebody else's hair is doing that. So we're in a better place, but I think there's a lack of structure for maybe even the educators at this point. I think that's something that needs to change.
Yeah, of course. So my final question is, you're a strong believer in hair confidence, and I really admire that about you. So what message would you give to our readers to encourage them to embrace their curls?
The main thing I would say to everyone is a little bit of a story. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm a hairdresser, for example. I've always loved hair. So you would think that I'd be very comfortable with my hair. But at the age of maybe 17 or 18, or before that, I believe, I begged my mom to relax my hair because everybody was relaxing their hair. So at some point, I think I did. But I didn't relax until about 17, 18, yeah. But then I had my hair relaxed for over, you know, a long time, over 10 years at least. I can't say how many years. So. Yeah. So, but then I believe it must have been over 20 years, to be honest. And that's relaxing on my head all the time. So I still like that sleek, will I say straighter look, but it took me a while for me to embrace this. So I can imagine with anybody else, there was a time, okay, I was sort of, I tried the natural route initially, and I would say it didn't work because my expectations were different. I didn't even know how to treat my hair because I was trying to treat my hair like I treated other people's hair, forgetting that my hair was different. So the first time I did it for 6 months, I texturized and I was like, you know what, this thing is not for me. But at the same time, I'm like, I do this for people. Why can't I do it myself? Because my brain couldn't understand the fact that my hair straight looked different, if that makes sense. So now the second time, I started experiencing hair loss, and it was just it wasn't just right for me. My scalp started hurting. I was like, you know what, it's time to really try and do this. And you're also doing this for people. You need to do this journey on your own. So I now cut my hair, and it was so crazy. Now when I look back at the picture, it looks so beautiful. But at the time I was like, oh, that's not me, you know, stuff like that. But the main thing here is that for any curly, I went through a journey of understanding my hair, and in understanding my hair, it helped me to understand a bit more of myself. So it's not just about cutting your hair and just, no, there is a journey about self discovery, which ultimately would add to your self-confidence. So this is the advice I would give any curly. Give your hair time, give your curls time for you to get used to it, for you to know how to work with it, and seriously, you will love yourself for it. Obviously, at the end of the day, if you decide that it's not for you, you have tried it, so it's your choice. So that's the advice I would give any curly person.
That's some amazing advice. I hope everyone takes that. You better take it. Oh, thank you so much for speaking to me today about your work and everything, Gege. It's been lovely to speak to